volunteers, outreach to the community, and like GOTV, if you're doing issue advocacy on legislation, I feel like it applies really well there. And like I had mentioned, we're posting those stances organizations are taking. So yeah, I think that's one way that's been really helpful for us to expand is by reaching out to organizations, showing them how they can use this, and it can be really be a useful way to get reliable data from we're verifying everyone's a real voter, registered voter, and then that's how we can get that district level data too. So by providing this tool, that's where organizations can use it to have that data to then meet with legislators and say, hey, look, this is real reliable data, what the voters want to kind of help make their case too. So that's one way that we've been kind of doing a lot of outreach, expanding, and then especially with candidates and legislators, we've had some legislators, candidates that have endorsed. And as I had mentioned, Tom Keene was the one, our first one in 2023. And we've had a lot more since then. So that's a way where they can use this to hear from voters, compile that input, inform their voting. And then we have a candidate that's gone as far, he's running for Congress in Florida to say, however, the majority of voters vote in his district is how he's going to ultimately vote on the bill. So he's got a system for really informing. I think that's kind of where we should be headed, like the direction we should head with our legislators, really informing their voters of the legislation, what's going on, giving them that insight. And then he'll inform them about like the pros and the cons, both sides of the issue, and then give his analysis of it. And then ultimately voters are the ones weighing in. So yeah, that's another way that we've been expanding. And even in like social media, I think there's a lot of potential that we're still building in that realm. And I think having a lot of like powerful voices helping spread the word, and yeah, media podcast hosts like yourself, that's another great way to help us advance this project to get more people using it, weighing in.
So that's how I got into podcasting. I ran for office and I realized running for office was all about raising money. And I would say I'm really not about raising money. I'm about raising awareness. So I was basically labeled an idiot the first time and then every other time I said it, right? And I was okay with that, but I also realized there's no point in running for office. So I created the podcast. So bringing the awareness, let's do the awareness thing real quick because this has been an incredible interview. But let's talk about awareness for a second. Right now, current event, the president got into a tiff with the Pope. And so from what I'm reading, he's nixed $11 million from Catholic Charities funding. Okay, so, and they do a lot of good. Strangely enough, my uncle, I don't know how the connection, but my uncle was a big executive at Catholic Charities and he did a great job and they did great stuff. Let's just say that happened. I can't confirm or deny it. I really tried hard to get an understanding of what just happened. I think it may have really happened. Would that ever be something that you present on your site that this happened? Not necessarily form an opinion, but could you create an understanding of how it would affect that lack of the $11 million for this Catholic charities to operate? Is that something you would ever bring to the awareness table?
That's an interesting case. I think, yeah, it's been focused on bills, legislation. We have talked about an interest in doing like some form of participatory budgeting where people can weigh in on funding issues, where their taxes are going. But yeah, as far as like unique cases like that, I'm not sure about. That's
We don't know yet, right? But you got a lot on the table, including getting to 50 states in the next year.
yeah, and long term, we'd like to be at the local level doing like county school board. So yeah,
Oh yeah, that would
there's
be
lots of
incredible
things we
too.
can do with
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be huge. Oh, absolutely. That's my biggest wheelhouse is education and really understanding what's going on with our education system. And I think this is a great tool that I'm going to definitely keep my hand on the pulse of because when I saw Ramon and his interest in doing the podcast and he just emailed me, I was like, oh, absolutely. Let me talk to Sadie. Yes, that's even because you're every day at the pulse of this. And
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Ramon, it's interesting. He's got the technology background, which I feel like our political system, democracy building, organizing is sometimes behind on the technology that can really help advance the work that we're doing. So he kind of brings in a lot of that perspective of the technology, the tools, and then my background's more so from the organizing outreach. So yeah, it's been really interesting kind of trying to integrate this into what a lot of the current methods are being used for organizing outreach.
This is just gonna be incredible, and I like when we talk about technology in general, technology, social media is even though AI started out with a bad rap, social media has always had a bad rap and still hasn't really improved its image at all. Fact of the matter is a lot of good is coming out of what's going on today. Even the current I don't know that we're in a political crisis. Some people love it, some people hate it. We are in a sort of a wrecking ball situation here. It's all gonna, in the long run, it's all gonna really be a lot better. And this is one of those things that's gonna make it significantly better because informing voters, it's no longer gonna be about like Kamala Harris spent $1.5 billion on billboards. Nobody knew if she stood for anything other than raising money. So it would be nice to know, even if when she was a senator, if you started with her career with this site as a senator and understand how she voted, you would have had a better understanding of her as a presidential candidate. So this really changes the dynamics of a lot of things. So Sadie, I really appreciate your time. You've been an incredible interview. You want to just tell us all about how you access the site and how.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, on that topic, I was going to add too, I think like kind of where our political system has gone, I feel like a lot of people feel powerless, like they don't have much of a say. I mean, there's gerrymandering going on at the state levels to where the politicians, the voters in their district are kind of more so to one side than it's not very well balanced to where those voters feel like they don't have much of a say, much representation. So I do feel like there's a lot of interest in kind of shifting to something like this. There's a lot of interest in the political system right now for voters being more like registering more as independents. So I think the kind of taking the focus off of so much of the two-party system, the right versus left, the whole like competitiveness of it to where I feel like it's gone. I feel like that's kind of added I toxicity is like the word that comes to mind for me to where it's just so polarizing and like I guess like hate fueled to where there's so much back and forth, this person versus that. So I think this is really interesting about just really focusing on the actual objective topics, the issues of the bill, getting voters more informed about that, I think is what got me like more interested in being politically engaged and just really seeing like the policies I think will help bring more people into the political system and then giving them this tool to where the more voters we get weighing in, that's where it'll really carry more weight. The more people, that's where you can get that power and numbers effect. We can have more of a voice for the voters and what they want, put more pressure on legislators, influence how they're voting. So I really like that kind of direction that I feel like we're helping to shift our political system in. So as far as like people participating, weighing in, has kind of been built with a partnership with Voatz. It's VOATZ. So they're real certified mobile voting technology and we're using their technology. They've been used for actual elections, so we're just expanding that use to where voters can weigh in directly on legislation. So any voter can go to our website's digitaldemocracyproject.org. There's an explainer video, you can check that out. There's a vote tab, or you can select to enroll, and it'll direct you to the page to kind of walk you through how to get into the Votes app, get verified. And there's a mobile app version or a web app version. It takes about 2 minutes or so to get verified. And once you get verified, you're able to vote on I think we're up to over 120 bills at the federal level for the current session. So any voter at any time is still able to weigh in on those until the session ends. So yeah, the Votes technology, there's more info about their technology on our website. But that's kind of where we really our main focus is getting more people weighing in on the bills, getting that input from voters. And that's really, if people are listening, that's definitely what we'd like you to a way to get started weighing in and then helping to spread the word, empower more voters.
This is huge. This is going to be huge. It's funny to me because I know for a fact if somebody finally does prevail and beats an incumbent, or the incumbent dies and a newcomer comes into the House, the first thing is the older timers grab them to the side and say, "You're going to vote for us. Just keep your mouth shut." And now that changes it all. Just you're going to toe the party line and just keep your mouth shut. We don't need you speaking on the floor. We don't need you forging opinions. We just need you to vote like we tell you to vote. That changes everything. This changes everything. It dismantles the whole hierarchy as we know it. And it's just incredible. And I'm always so enthusiastic about the time that we live in now because there's so much good happening and there's a lot of concerning things happening too, but for sure. But there's so much good happening, and it's because of programs and initiatives like this. And this is not just an initiative anymore. This is huge. This is national, not national. It's full blown. You're in 7 states. You're going to be at all 50 soon, and it's going to change everything. And the only thing I can see that I'm going to do my due diligence on is getting the word out, because I've always believed in the sense of creating some sort of online life skills incentive based program, teaching people about young people about all the organizations and all the things they really know to succeed in this life, because life has gotten more complicated. It seems like the petri dish of the underclass is the fact that we don't really do much to get our kids informed. And so I really want to change that. And I'm going to do my part in getting the word out about this, because this is huge. And I want young people to start now learning about it and using it, showing their parents how to use it. Don't vote for that guy. He's an idiot. Look at this. And I would love to, I'd love to be a part of that, a fly on the wall for that kitchen table conversation. But
Yeah, we definitely appreciate your help spreading the word. And yeah, we want this to be a really grassroots movement of people weighing in and helping tell others to also weigh in, have their say on legislation. And yeah, all about putting that power in the hands of voters, giving them more of a say, more of a seat at the table in the legislative process.
this is great. I really appreciate you, Sadie. This has been a wonderful conversation. I'm so thankful you took the time to provide me the option of having you on.
Yeah, he can definitely give you a deep dive on the technology details of it too. That's definitely not my
Yeah, this was a great. I want both sides. Yeah, I'm all about content. My partner's all about technology, and I
Okay.
don't. And I don't. When sometimes she tells me to do the simplest thing, and I have to call my 13-year-old over to show me where it's.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
I'm sure you're in way better position than me when it comes to the technology, but I'm okay with what things are going really well for us. So as far as trying to get going, thank you so much, Sadie. Thank you so much. Talk to you
Of
soon.
course, yeah, thank you. Yeah, sounds good.
Sadie Holzmeyer, National Organizing Director of Director of the Digital Democracy Project. Digital Democracy Project is going to be a game changer in politics in America. We're no longer going to see or hear the Bill Clintons promising kosher kitchens